My name is Jacobi. I have a brother who was experiencing hallucinations. He was experiencing just like a very long banter, um, this kind of like harried identity of needing to help people, kind of like this euphoric type of feeling, and coupled with like very massive just bouts of being low. I wasn't really quite sure what it was. In my family, we didn't really have a lot of experience with mental health issues before, so we weren't sure if it was like some type of substance, drinking or drugs or a concussion or what. We just knew that he didn't seem himself for quite some time, and it was starting to put him at danger. And it was really scary. So my mom kind of saw it in this way of like, oh, the sky is falling, there's, something wrong with him, and but maybe he's just being different. And I saw it as like, no, no, there's something that he needs help on. Like, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I think I need to go closer to him, right? And I think my mom at the time was just so overwhelmed with what was going on that she kind of went a little bit more into herself and wasn't quite sure what to do, if there was help, and how to address it. So my brother had all these homeless people living with him, and my mom was getting really upset because she helped him get his place that he was living in. And so she was more so like, like when you kind of mess over something that somebody gives you, you're just like, why are you treating it like this, And I was kind of like, oh, bro, what's happening, And so I tried to kind of reason with him, like, yo, have you been feeling okay? He's like, yeah, I'm feeling fine, And it was like you couldn't really have a lucid conversation at that point. And he didn't really do well with any type of disagreement at all. So my brother is one of those people who does not accept a diagnosis and will never accept one. And it can be disheartening, but it's okay, because that does not mean that we can't, as a family, help him. And I think of like this circle of influence versus your circle of control. You can't control another person anyway, but you can be that change that you want to see. And with NAMI, we become a much more empathetic family, much more compassionate, much more understanding. And so that has really opened us up to have healthy boundaries, to have healthy relationships, and to see him into a new life of recovery. So my mom found out about NAMI from a friend who was thinking maybe my brother was showing symptoms of something that was mental health related. And she didn't really want to go alone. So she's like, well, if I'm going to do this, I need somebody to go with me. So I went with her. And the first class in NAMI, kind of standoffish, a lot of parents in the room. I'm a sibling. There was one other sibling in the class. And it was great. It's a 12-week program at the time. For us, the pivotal class was the problem solving, because we saw problems totally different, like my mom, the way she addressed it and the way I addressed it. And so they asked for a volunteer, and I told my mom to get up there and speak, and it was uncomfortable. It was a very vulnerable position that she was in, because you have this class full of people who are dealing with something similar, and who don't know your kid but are telling you how to kind of like address a problem with him. So my mom got very offended, but I think it was a very helpful experience, because from that problem solving point of view, we were able to really combine forces, even though we had differences in opinions of how he should be handled at the time. The best parts of the class, honestly, for me, I really loved the structure of it. I think that it was helpful to kind of have each week you go through a particular part of like brain chemistry or problem solving, and then you have a small moment to talk about your issues, because you really could overwhelm hours just reveling in what's going on. And so each class kind of gave us a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, a way to feel like, okay, I'm understanding this thing a little bit more, and then it was also hands-on. So we would leave, and then within the 7-day time frame, we would figure out a way to try something, and about 60% of it didn't work at the time, but it was still really helpful just to have that, that support group and that structure. He's doing so much better. Okay, so my brother's involvement with NAMI had never really been straight on because he never accepted that he had any kind of issue or diagnosis. And that's actually kind of quite common as well. And so I stopped pushing it, honestly. I stopped pushing the diagnosis, but I did ask him to get involved with me on a level of like peer support, right? And so after he kind of was able to stabilize a little bit more, he would come to me to like support groups and things like that. And so that was a really cool way for him to see other people and feel like he should help them. But also just to kind of grow his understanding a little bit more. But I think my brother's experience with NAMI was more so just feeling the result of how my mom and I changed our dynamic and how we started to slowly change the dynamic of the way our family as a whole kind of deals with these issues. So, okay, it was actually a really, really long road. But we learned about so many tools in NAMI, and also just in kind of conversations with other people, like other parents and peers, that we kind of took a more creative, I guess, approach to it and recognized when he's doing well, what are the factors that are coming into play with him doing well? So, i.e., the exercise, hydration, mental support, spiritual support, does he feel like he has a sense of purpose, right? And so he's a twin. So his brother actually got him connected to a job that's like his dream job, which is like involved in athletics. And so we kind of just came together as a whole unit, honestly, and just try to consistently pour into him the things that he needs to feel whole. So, I mean, not every day is a great day, but he really has been doing a lot better. So I can't speak for every NAMI office, but NAMI Greater Houston, I mean, they're just so hands-on. Angelina Hudson literally knows everybody in this organization, in this community. I don't even know how she does it. Neil, I mean, everyone here, even the board of directors, are super hands-on. You'll see them outside. You can ask them questions. Mental health is such a huge, has such a huge presence in our community, and everybody here has been affected by it, and I think that makes it even more impactful, because you see people here that aren't just kind of spewing the data sheets, but really live it every day. So oftentimes in communities of color, we don't do the long labels and prognosis and those types of things. That's just not, it's not really our language. And a lot of times, the standard is you label it and then you address it and then you add the trifecta to it. And so because you don't start there with that label, it does not mean that you can't live a full life in recovery. And with my brother in particular, I noticed that we had that same communal issue, right? And it doesn't mean that he can't make changes in his life. It just means that we have to address it in a way that's more wholesome and that speaks to us culturally. So if you're a sibling like me or a support of somebody who's a loved one that you're not fully responsible for, I really recommend starting off with the NAMI with the family-to-family classes. And if you can't do that, maybe even the home front or just a support group. It really helps to see what the language is like. It helps to see what the environment is like, that there are other people who are going through what you're going through. And for me, it was we just dove in, honestly. I would highly recommend bringing somebody else in your family with you so that you can have that larger support group. Whether you're pushing them or they're pushing you, like I do with my mom. It really makes a huge difference to know that it takes a village, and to be able to build up that village within your own family. Yeah, NAMI has definitely revolutionized the way that I approach my own family, my own mental health, my community, just way more I'm way more understanding. I'm way more patient, honestly, just much more patient. I don't see people and think, oh, that person's losing it. Like, I really sit there and I'm like, okay, this person might be going through something. Like, you just never really know. I work in public service, so it's also just a great thing for me to identify what my needs are personally and what the needs are of the people who I serve. But really, I mean, anytime NAMI calls, I'm like, yes, what do you need? And I'm not really that person with organizations, but NAMI has been such an amazing part of my family. So before this, I really just kind of thought that we were going to have to be stuck with where we were. And my hope for tomorrow is that all of my family members, and it might not be my biological family, because even my friends, honestly, like I've been like seeing changes in their lives as well in terms of how they support me, and their support of me has impacted them to kind of look at themselves a bit more compassionately. And so my hope for tomorrow is that people are open, a bit more vulnerable to accepting help, because it definitely is out there.